Yes, so for my first question is, what was the most memorable moment about Hungary during your stay here as an ambassador?
It's difficult to say because I've been here for 5 years and I had a lot of experiences, a lot of good things. But I think that the most memorable point is not a very happy one, and it is it started 5 years ago when Corona spread out the outbreak of Corona, and all curtains started to come down and doors were shut, and I found myself, or we found ourselves, isolated, like in a way a prisoner in a golden cage, because the strict rules of the Israeli Foreign Ministry, but also of the Hungarian government, about people mixing with each other and so on. And I was, for example, separated from my wife because my wife was in Israel, and I was here, and we couldn't see each other. First of all, there was no transport because they cut all flights. And then, even if there were flights, then you had to go for quarantine for 2 weeks. So unfortunately, this is the most memorable point, but again, that's unique. It's nothing to do with Hungary. It was my luck that I was here, not at home, but it could have been in any other country. But otherwise, I had a lot of good moments in this country. Food, tourism, interest, debates, atmosphere, everything.
And what would you recommend to the new ambassador, as an old ambassador? What would you say? What would be your advice about Hungary?
Well, first of all, my advices I already gave her on private, and let's leave it like this. But I think that every ambassador, every diplomat has his own flavor. This is the big advantage. Even though we live in the digital era, we are not a production line. Each ambassador has its own way, its own means, and I'm sure that you will be doing a good job.
Today you are here to talk about the Gaza Strip events and issues. What do you think, what can be the solution in this case?
It's difficult to speak now about a solution because emotions still run very high in Israel, and we are still fighting. I mean, Hamas is still there, and the hostages are still there, and until Hamas does not leave militarily the Gaza Strip and the hostages do not come home, then there won't be an end to this. Then I think that at the end of the day, we'll have to find a settlement. Now, a settlement depends first and foremost on both parties coming to terms with the situation. And in this case, is that you have to share this piece of land between two people and with two national aspirations. It's like you want to make a deal. You want to sell, buy a car, you want to rent, buy an apartment. There are two sides. They have to come to terms that they want to make the deal. Now, if it's going to be all or nothing, as was the case from the Palestinian point of view up until now, it's going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be a never-ending story. This is not the right way. So, for the time being, I don't see any permanent solution to this conflict. But I hope that as time elapses and they come to terms, we can go back on track and reach a solution to this conflict.
And what do you think? What is the reason why the Gaza Strip is much more radicalized and militarized than the other Palestinian territories?
Because we are not there. Because in Gaza Strip, what we did almost 20 years ago to the day, in August 2005, we decided to pull out unilaterally out of Gaza. We dismantled all the settlements, everything. We went out. There's no territorial dispute because this is the exact dimensions of Gaza. And we handed over the keys to the Palestinian Authority and said, that's yours, run it. And unfortunately, Hamas took over 2 years later, and the rest is history, because Hamas has a murderous ideology. It's like ISIS, it's even worse than ISIS, and it's written. I mean, you don't have to be a magician or to use telepathy to realize what their intentions are. They say it. They want to destruct Israel. That's one of their goals, on the way to install Islamic Caliphate all over the world. Leave this, but let's talk about Israel. Now, if they want to destroy Israel, as long as they stick onto their ideology, then nothing will happen. And this is the reason. The West Bank, Palestinian Authority is there, the IDF is there, and we managed to prevent from Hamas taking over. If we would leave the West Bank, next day it will be taken over by Hamas people. And that's a problem. With these people you can't talk peace, because they don't have any intentions to make peace with you. The best proof was this vicious attack, a murderous attack on the 7th of October. And more than this, it was not something a one-off or something that was, not planned or went out of control. We found all the documents, the orders, which showed that this was something which was well prepared and planned. And the idea was that it would shock Israel, it will cause other forces like Hezbollah and Arab armies to join in, and it will bring to the collapse of Israel. That was the idea. Now, you don't have to believe me, just read the documents. You can translate them into Hungarian and read them. They speak for themselves.
But as we can see, also the Palestinian society is divided. There are many social cleavages, and also the Israeli, so like religious, non-religious, inside the religious, there are different kind of religions. So what can the government do in Israel to make these societies more peaceful?
Today, you won't find many people in Israel, if at all, who will tell you, among the Jewish population, who will tell you that it's time to have a two-state solution. Nobody wants to hear about it. Emotions are very high in Israel about what Hamas did. Not only that they attacked us, but what they did. They tortured, butchered children, old ladies, they raped. They did all kinds of cruel things that you don't even to think about them. And they kidnapped 250 people, by the way. They killed not only Jews, they killed Israeli Arabs who are also Palestinians. They kidnapped or killed foreign workers from the Philippines or from Thailand who came to make a living. They kidnapped and killed African students who came on scholarship of the Israeli Foreign Ministry to train in advanced agriculture methods for the benefit of their own people in Africa. Now, they didn't make any distinction. We saw everything. You know how? We saw it because they were using GoPro cameras. They were broadcasting it to the headquarters on live, so you could see people butchering people on live. Don't talk today to the Israelis about Hamas, about two-state solution, about anything. Now, there are the debates in Israel. Yes, we have some internal domestic crisis about the reform or judicial reform, judicial revolution. Depends which side of the map, political map you are, and this is how you define it. But let nobody be mistaken. Israel is a democracy. It's a country of law. And within this democracy and pluralism, there is this debate. I think that one of the mistakes of Hamas was, again, not understanding the Israeli, not being able to decipher the Israeli because they thought that if the Israelis are fighting, if you have the pilots who threaten not to do their military service in case of war, then it means that we can attack the Israeli society is weak. On the contrary, those who claim all the time that they will not volunteer to the military, to the reserve service because of the judicial reform, they were the first ones who came to fight on the 7th of October. This is Israel. Now, These Palestinians, I'm not going to speak on their behalf, they have to solve the problems, but you see the first time that people become fed up of Hamas in Gaza. Now Hamas is a tyranny. Hamas is like ISIS. You say the wrong word and they kill you or mutilate you or injure you, and they do it in public, so people will be afraid, like shooting people in the kneecaps and turning them into cripples and so on. In the last week, we saw an unprecedented phenomenon. We see demonstrations in various parts of the Gaza Strip against Hamas with the demand that Hamas leaves. They don't want to see Hamas. Hamas brings only destruction, pain, and sorrow to the people. Their own people and to us. The other way around.
There is a Hungarian celebrity called Christoph Steiner. Maybe you have heard his name. He used to live also in Israel. Right now he's living in Greece. And he was saying that he surprised his Israeli friends when he was saying that he was partying in Ramallah. He was partying in Ramallah, and they were like shocked that how could you go there and how could you talk to those people. This was like years ago. But his experience is that the communication is missing from the average people level.
Since the year 2000, the Intifada, the second Intifada broke out, the communication was disrupted because Israelis, the Jews, are not allowed to go into the Palestinian territories because of fear for their safety. Israeli Arabs can do it. So but people, from time to time, people do go. And the distance between Ramallah and Jerusalem is around 7 minutes of not very fast car. It's nothing. We are like this. We are like a couple. And this, on the one hand, is an advantage because it shows that the proximity is there. It's also a disadvantage. Depends how you look at it. But from the Israeli point of view, it's very simple. The logic is very simple. Until 1993, there was no Oslo because there was no peace, and we were there in the territory since 1967. Why did we come there? Because we were attacked by 3 armies: Jordan, Egypt, and Syria. Okay. And until 1993, everything was fine, relatively. 1993, there was Oslo Accords. And when you have the Oslo Accords, trouble started. Look how many victims since the Oslo Accords. Then came the second Intifada with over 1,500 Israelis murdered. Then there were again attempts to restore the peace process, Napoli's process and others. Whenever we had to take decisions, both sides, so the Israelis always said, yes, but. The Americans always make a proposal. The Israelis say, yes, but. The Palestinians say, okay, we call you, they never go. Then came the 7th of October 2023, where about 1,200 people, most of them civilians, were butchered and murdered by Hamas in this attack. So if you ask the Israelis, they tell you all our trouble started when we decided to divide this part into 2 states. They like to Rabin and Arafat. This is the Israeli logic for many. Not necessarily mine, but it doesn't matter. I try to portray the full picture of what I think. And that's it. And the problem is that if you don't come to terms that you can't win everything, then there won't be any solution. Simple as that.
And my last question is about Syria. since the government changed there, it's like so many inside problems. What do you think how it would affect the regional peace?
I don't know. What happened in Syria was quite a big surprise because nobody witnessed it. I mean, nobody. Was the Turks told this organization, the Hayat Shah, whatever they call, go. And Assad regime collapsed like this. And suddenly this jihadist finds himself ruling the country. It's a very troubled and problematic country because of lots of reasons, because it has big minorities, that he as an Islamist has a problem with them. Let it be the Christians, let it be the Alawites, who are considered as heretics by the Sunnite establishment, or let it be the Jews. Then you have a lot of, and then we talk about the Kurds. And we talk about the interest of Turkey, the interest of Iran, that lost its main basis of support, a ground base for operations, the connection to Lebanon. It has an influence on Hezbollah status. There's no free movement anymore. And it has also a problem with us. We don't tend to believe this kind of people because of our experience. So at the end of the day, it's very simple. You have to check and see what he's doing. I know that everybody was impressed by the speed that he changed from a soldier's traditional dress code into something very common to us, designer suit, probably, but a suit, white shirt, nice ties, and so on. We have to try to trust it, to taste it, test it. So we had an operation that within several days we destructed all what we can destroy of the Syrian army. It was not intended against him, but the problem is that the Syrian army, at least, they had all the weapons and so on, but they had the leadership. Like it or dislike it, but they are proportionate. They have some logic. This kind of, So I don't know. He made some statements that he doesn't have any business to do with us, he doesn't want, and so on, but you don't know. And it's a serious problem. But I hope that, if he stays there, if they have elections and so on, I think that the Syrians deserve to live in peace and tranquility and in equality. They've been going through since March 2011 when the civil war broke out, but under the tyranny of the Assad family. It was all what they found when they opened the jails. And today, it's very difficult to hide something. You can see everything. They show, the hidden sections of the jail, where they started to destroy concrete walls because someone told them that the maps disappeared, everything disappeared because the jail is run away and not for nothing. So let's wait and see. So far, so but we made it very clear, especially after the experience of the 7th of October. We are not going to put up with any kind of semi-attacks, extremism. We've been shot at, we react, and we react not proportionally.